Tell me, what does your kitchen look like right now? Is it messy? Do your dishes need to be done? Do you have things on the counters? Believe it or not, the state of your kitchen has a lot to do with weight loss. What I found in coaching is that where you struggle in one area, you're most likely to struggle in other areas. So if your kitchen is a mess, it's very likely that the client's eating is a mess. And most often, the rest of her house is a mess too. And I know because this used to be me. I hated doing dishes. And so I would procrastinate. And I had stuff all over the counters, dishes and garbage and appliances, everything all over the counters. And then mealtime would come and I'd go out to the kitchen to cook, but I wouldn't be able to cook anything because I had to do the dishes first in order to have something to cook out of and something to eat off of. And I would look at it all and get overwhelmed at how long it was going to take, and then just ordered delivery. The kitchen was not a place I liked being in because it was always a disaster. And therefore, my eating was a disaster. My table always had stuff all over it. So I ate in the living room in front of the TV, which then turned into the habit of associating TV watching with eating. Hello, binge watching Netflix while binge eating junk food. And then because my eating was a disaster, I didn't feel good about myself and I physically didn't feel good. I was exhausted all the time, which meant I also didn't want to clean the rest of the house. Clutter was everywhere, but I just didn't have the energy to do anything about it. But it was also extremely draining. So I started out slowly and I would set a timer and do dishes for 5 minutes. And I'd do them as fast as I could to see how many I could get done. And then once the timer went off, I stopped. I'd go back and I'd watch TV for an hour or two. And then I'd head back to the kitchen, set the timer and clean for another 5 minutes. And I was surprised at how quickly and easily I was able to get the kitchen cleaned up just by doing 5 minutes at a time. And it didn't feel overwhelming. The bonus was then I began to cook at home because now my kitchen was clean and I knew that doing the dishes after the meal wouldn't be such a big deal anymore because I knew I could do it 5 minutes at a time. And this overflowed into other areas of my house. And I began to clear the clutter by, again, setting a timer for 5 minutes at a time and then quitting when the timer went off. I like to call this the power of popcorn cleaning. The power of popcorn is doing little things like pieces of popcorn popping one at a time. Pop, 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 pop. So an example would be you're leaving your living room and you're headed to the kitchen. Don't just get up and go to the kitchen. Get up, take a quick look around the living room, see if there's something you could take with you that needs to go to the kitchen. Same thing, if you're going to the bathroom, is there something that needs to go in the bathroom? Take it with you. If you're going to your bedroom, what belongs in your bedroom? Get in the habit of picking things up as you go along and as you're going from room to room, just like the popcorn popping. Just don't take popcorn with you, take the items with you. Break the jobs down into smaller jobs. Do your floors need to be cleaned? It's overwhelming to do all of them, right? So don't do them all in one day. Do one today and another tomorrow or the next day. I like to use a wet Swiffer instead of hauling out the big mop and the bucket all the time. And if you think that, well, the Swiffer's not going to do a good job, the chances are you weren't going to do the floors anyway because you were procrastinating. So at least by using the Swiffer, they're a little bit cleaner than they were previous. But imagine over time how much cleaner those floors are going to be if you use the Swiffer once a week or even twice a week. So let's head to the bathroom. Same idea. Break it down into smaller jobs. clean the mirror one day, wipe down the counter with a cloth another day. For cleaning the toilet, I like to grab some toilet paper. I clean around the back of the seat, under the lid, around the rim, down the bottom where all the dust piles up. And yes, it's not perfect, but it's an improvement. And the idea here is that we're getting you to do little things, which will eventually lead into you doing it properly. But let's just get you started. Keep a microfiber cloth in the shower. And then after you're done your shower, while everything is steamy and hot and wet, then you can just take the cloth and wipe everything down. And again, it's not perfect, but it's better than it was. Same thing with dusting. Go buy a duster from the dollar store, one of those big fluffy ones, and then dust the living room while you're watching TV. If your desk is a mess, take all of the papers and put them into a neat pile. Put them in a basket or a box or something, or just in a nice neat pile. And then you can go through the papers just a little bit at a time. Maybe do 3 or 4 papers a day, or even just one at a time if 3 or 4 is overwhelming. Then you can say to yourself, I have this nice, neat, tidy pile. I'm just going to take the top 3 papers. Where do they go? Then you put them away, or you put them in the garbage. Whatever you need to do with it, do it. Again, it's like popcorn, little bits at a time. Now, if you have a room that's really, really cluttered and you have lots to do, still break it down. Do the popcorn power, or the power of popcorn. Set a timer for 15 minutes and sort items into boxes. Garbage, items to put away, items to donate, items to sell. And do it as quickly as possible. And then once a box is full, then you can deal with that box. The one that's full of things to put away, set a timer for another time and deal with that. Now, don't overwhelm yourself with the big picture, because that's just daunting. It's too much, and you're going to give up and you're going to procrastinate. Instead, break it down into smaller, bite-sized pieces. And yes, the pun was intended. But when you break it down, you see how much easier it is to deal with. So another thing you can do is, instead of saying to yourself, I hate house cleaning and I hate dishes, instead you say to yourself, I love having a clean home and I love having a clean kitchen to cook in. And see how much more empowering that positive phrase is. When you can clear the clutter from your house, you're going to be setting your whole environment up for success. You're going to feel better about your space. You're going to feel lighter and freer. You'll begin to feel more energetic, and you'll find that you show up for yourself in a different way. My apartment is now spotless. Over the last 4 years, I gradually got rid of all the things that weren't making me smile. And now I live a very minimal lifestyle, and it's so freeing. I come home to a clean place to live. I'm not embarrassed if someone shows up unexpectedly. I entertain more. Just feel so much better in a clean space. Hebrews 12:1 says, let us throw off everything that hinders and so easily entangles. Let's run with perseverance. So I want you to make a promise to yourself to start with 5 minutes, start with 5 minutes a day to begin clearing the clutter, and see what a difference even just 5 minutes will make. Then email me back and let me know what you did. Let's clear that clutter so that you can live the fab, fit, and free life you desire and deserve.